Hey everybody, my name is Cole Evans. I'm the CEO of Enduro Metals. One of the goals of this year from a communication standpoint is I want to try and film as much as what we do from my point of view, so to speak. There's a lot of sugarcoating, like in any industry, that goes on with mineral exploration, and I thought it'd be really valuable for investors and our shareholders to see what it is that actually goes on a day-to-day basis and what mineral exploration is really like, at least from my point of view. So that's going to be, this is number one in the start of a video series like this. We're on our way to Newmont Lake right now. We're about 2 hours away from Bobquin. But that's about a 5,000 foot gravel airstrip on the side of Highway 37 that we use for staging to get into our camp. Anatole is the trusty filmer holding the camera right now. And then we got Camp Dog Leo sitting right there. All he wants to do is sit in the front seat. But anyways, yeah, so we just came through Meziadin Junction. This is the last stop for any, actually, sorry, not to break from it, but you can see the patchy snow there. So there's always a question, oh, what's the weather like in the Golden Triangle? When are you starting? Well, to give people an idea, like I said, of what actually goes on, here it is June 13th, and we're just north of 5 minutes north of Meziadin. You can see there's snow even just down on the side of the highway from us right here. The snowpack for 2021 in the Stikine region is 275% of average. To put that into perspective, from 2014 to 2019, it was between 1 to 3%. 2020, it was 125%. This year, 275%. So a lot more snow to deal with this year than we'd normally see. But that's okay. That's easy to deal with, just a little more difficult, but not anything that can't be dealt with. Oh, there's a black bear. Lots of bears through here. You can, even the drive between Meziadin up to Bobquin, you could see 20-25 bears and any given pass in that 2 hour drive on the side of the road. So some of the points why we were filming back there and checking things out is one, a couple cool, the Meziadin sort of represents for me at least, you know, a split in the two areas that you can go to in the Golden Triangle. So we could have headed west. We'll go to the town of Stewart, and that's where I'd call, you know, Stewart Camp, that southern portion of the Golden Triangle. Ascot being the big company operating in and out of there right now, along with a lot of other junior companies. And then, or you can go turn right, which eventually heads north, which is what we're doing right now. And this takes us into what I consider to be, you know, the heart of the Golden Triangle, or that northern area, the Tatoga Camp, this Red Chris, Saddle, North Rock, GJ. It would be that north end. But we're headed to Bobquin, which takes us into the SK Newmont Lake area. Sort of in the center, there's a big river. It's called the Iskit River that cuts east-west right through the middle, and the hydroelectric power facility we call AltaGas is about, you know, roughly 40 kilometers west of the airstrip. What you'll see though as we're going down the highway, and I think we got some footage of it when we were at Meziadin Junction, which represents basically the last you know, commercially available fuel supply for quite a ways, is lots of these big tractor trailer B trains, and what lots of these are hauling is actually concentrate from Red Chris. So that's something really significant to think about when you talk about the Golden Triangle over the last several years. Is Red Chris represents the first bulk tonnage deposit that's ever been mined up here, right? Of course, Red Chris is a tier 1 alkalic porphyry deposit, not too far outside of Iskit, about 20 kilometers southeast, roughly. And yeah, so that's a significant thing. When people ask, are these bulk tonnage porphyry deposits mineable in British Columbia? In northwestern British Columbia, Red Chris is a perfect example of it's being done. They're producing concentrate. It's then trucked along Highway 37, which is what we're driving on right now, taken out to the Port of Stewart, about 40 kilometers west of where we were at Mesiadin Junction. And that's Canada's northernmost ice-free port, where then it's taken off to, I don't know exactly where, I think it's Japan or South Korea, China. The smelters out that way where they get the copper and the gold out of it. There's a few main access roads when we're in the central part of the Golden Triangle here. What we just passed by, that's the access to get into Deustchland, Pretium's project. That's a really crazy one, and I think it shows a little bit of creativity and in just what can be accomplished in the Golden Triangle. You actually follow that road all the way up to 13 kilometers before you get to the Deustchland mine itself. That's when it transitions to an ice road. This is a year-round ice road on the Nip Glacier. It's a big valley glacier. Now, this is not like an ice road like you'd see up in the Arctic across big flat frozen lakes or the Arctic Ocean. This is year-round in a big valley, so pretty remarkable what they're able to do. And everything that goes up to that mine goes up that road and transfers onto trucks and trailers to go up the ice and actually into the mine itself. A couple more as we drive up through. We're going to pass by the Eskay Creek mine road. As it would sound, goes into Eskay Creek. As you get, it's about 28 kilometers down on the Eskay Creek road, there's a fork off that would take you to the hydroelectric power plant. We used to call it AltaGas, or we just say AltaGas, but a couple of years ago, Manulife Financial, Axiom Infrastructure, and actually the Tahltan Nation bought the project from AltaGas and are all partners in it. And that's a really significant piece of the whole infrastructure developments of this area, in that you have some of the cleanest, cheapest hydroelectric power that you can get right in the middle of where all these projects are being developed. And as we get a bit further up here, we'll get a look at the Northwest Transmission Line. Was a big transmission line to help support the AltaGas hydroelectric power project. There's a Tahltan sign, yeah. So we just drove over top of Deustchland Creek, and my apologies if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but that is, at least my understanding of history, Deustchland Creek is the border between Gitxsan and Tahltan traditional territories. It used to be up at Treaty Creek, hence the name, a little bit further up here, and many of you may be familiar with Tudor's Treaty Creek project. It's just a little ways up here, but yeah, so we're now in Tahltan territory, and that's where 100% of the Newmont Lake project sits within their traditional territory or area of the Tahltan Nation. And most of the Golden Triangle, not all of it, but most of the Golden Triangle is within their traditional territory. There's other nations as well, Gitxsan, Nisga'a, Kaska, among others. Depending on how you draw the Golden Triangle is always a different shape depending on who you're talking to and what company's promoting. So, but the heart of it, so to speak, is within Tahltan traditional territory, and that's where we are now. Yeah, so what we just drove by was a place we called Belle 2. It's a bit of a center during the summertime for exploration. In the wintertime, it's one of the largest heli skiing resorts in the world, I believe, or at least that's what they advertise. But yeah, in the summertime, it's a really good spot for companies to, if you need a place to stay, it's really one of the only hotels, so to speak, that you can get within a couple 100 kilometers of here. And they also got a little bit of fuel if you forgot to fill up in Méziades if you're headed north. Or being a heli skiing resort, it's also really handy in that it's set up for helicopter usage. So you probably see out front there's usually always a couple helicopters sitting there, bulk tanks for fuel and all that kind of stuff. Just all important things to have in your mind all the time when you're exploring the Golden Triangle is, where can you find supplies, or where can you find help if you need it quickly. That's one of the great things about exploring up here is, big pothole, is, everyone kind of knows everybody. And most companies are really good about helping each other out when they need it. And it's reciprocated on the other side, because you can never have enough friends when you're in a place like this. People, like I said, will always try and sugarcoat the location and operation of this area, but to be quite frank, yeah, it is challenging. It's not impossible by any means. That's important to understand. There's operating mines here, there's very successful exploration projects as well, but we're not in Kansas, as you can see around us. We're about to go through the Ningenshaw Pass. I can't remember the exact stats, but it's a section of highway that I think has the most closures due to avalanches out of anywhere in North America or something like that. So, like I said, it is a challenging place, but that's where the creativity comes to play. And all obstacles, all challenges have solutions. You just got to be able to think of them. I look at this area as, if it wasn't for the challenges that you face, all of this would have been done before. What we're working on at Newmont Lake, someone would have already found it. And it's really, the earth that's kept its secrets well for a really long time. And it's kind of an interesting, more spiritual way to look at things, which I tend to prefer. Is, as society and we make these transition to electrification of industries and vehicles, all these different things, based on climate change, among many other topics. An interesting way to look at it, how I like to look at it, is it's nature. Nature always has provided for us for thousands of years, and particularly when we need it most. And some of these places where we're exploring were unexplorable until recent years, until the ice receding back, until nature, when we need it the most, making the resources available to us as the world transitions from a carbon-based economy into an electrified one. And that's, in a weird way, I feel kind of what's going on here. We talk about beautiful scenery, even on a cloudy day. Have a look at what's in front of us. So again, I probably butcher all my pronunciations, but this is an Ningenshaw Pass or park. Yeah, so we're coming through the pass here. This area is notorious for flooding, as you can probably imagine why. You got ponds on either side, but also you see too, right up beside us is a part of the Northwest Transmission Line that connects up to a substation at Bobquin. And it goes further north as well, but connects up to a substation at Bobquin and ties in the AltaGas hydroelectric facilities into British Columbia's power grid.